Hey everybody, it's Brooke with the Buttered Home and welcome to my messy kitchen. Today we're going to show you an easy and delicious way to make those good old-fashioned fruit-filled hand pies. Trust me when I say you won't want to miss this one. We'll be right back. Okay, we have preheated our oven to 375 degrees, so let's make this pie dough. It's much the same as regular pie dough. We start out with 1.5 cups of plain all-purpose flour and 1.5 sticks of cold cubed butter. We put that right in, and then we have about 1/3 of a cup of ice cold ice water sitting to the side. You might need more, you might need less. I always have extra on hand in case it takes it. You just can't tell from one day to the next. Cut that butter in with a pastry cutter or your fingers like I'm doing here, or even you could use 2 knives or 2 forks. No special equipment needed. Just don't overwork your butter. You don't want to warm it up too much. Now when it's coarse and mealy, we're going to add in our ice water until a light dough forms. I just mix it with a dough hook or a fork. Again, no special equipment required, but we're going to mix that until you've got just what I call a scraggly dough. I added in the water in just a little bit at a time, careful not to get the ice in until it is the right dough consistency. So you see, I'm just adding a little at a time just until it comes together and is no longer too coarse, but can be pressed into a disc. There we go. It's holding together pretty good. So now I flour my board lightly, and then I will turn this pie dough out, and I just pile it up, and then with floured hands, I will just scoop it up into like a little mound and just press it together. That way you don't overwork it too much. Then we're just going to take it. We're not going to chill it. I flip it over to get some flour on both sides, and I form it into a disc to get ready to roll it out. A little more bench flour in my rolling pin, and gonna just get it to a nice size where I can fold it over itself. I make one fold another end over, and then from the other direction I make a little packet of dough. Then I reflour, and I do this 2 more times. I make 3 tri-folds and just roll it out to a manageable size to be able to do that for 3 times. Just like the Holy Trinity, 3 times over itself, and then I take it and I do it vertically and pack it down. Get a little more bench flour. We just want that butter spread out, and we're making layers here. So we'll get that all pressed out into, a round manageable thickness. Round manageable dough to about 1/4 of an inch thick. You don't want to do these too thick because they'll be kind of doughy, pasty almost. So I like to do hand pies and pie crust at about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch thick. I keep that bench flour going so that we don't stick. And this doesn't have to be round because we're going to cut it out. So I've got a large biscuit cutter that I'm going to flour. And see, it's not round like a regular pie crust because we're going to make small pie crust. And I just pop those out and take up my excess and set those to the side. See, they're about 1/4 of an inch thick. Perfect. Just perfect for this. Now I just take my scrap dough, pile it up into a little mound, press it out. We don't have to do the tri-fold anymore, and we just pop that out to another 1/4 of an inch slab so that we can cut some more. And we'll do this until almost all of our dough is gone, or we don't have enough to make a whole one anymore. Fold it over itself, pop it back down, press it, roll it out, and cut you some more at a 1/4 of an inch thick till you have all of your dough nice and used up. I usually get anywhere from 8 to 10 out of this making. All right, there we go. Have all of them ready. Now I'm just going to take and stretch them out just a little bit. Just work them just a tad bit. And then I'm using peach filling, but you can use whatever fruit filling you desire. Fold it over into a little half moon. Now, it's messy. You're going to have a little bit of that jelly come out. I just try to wipe off whatever excess I can, and I place them onto a cookie sheet. You can fit it with parchment if you want, or foil. It really doesn't matter. But if you have some of that fruit filling or pie filling kind of seep out the edges, don't worry about it. It'll caramelize and become a beautiful crust with a lot of little crunch. Now we just take a fork and we just score those edges to seal them so that no more of that juice escapes. A little bit's fine. Too much is an exploded pie. All right. Now we just take some egg wash. You can dilute it with water or just use a whole whipped egg like I'm doing here and just glaze that over the top. That helps with color and with sealing those edges. Stay tuned. We baked these guys for about 20 to 30 minutes. Oh, would you look, at 375, and they're perfect. So now I'm just taking about a cup of confectioner's sugar and adding milk a tablespoon at a time to get my glaze for these guys ready. You can drizzle this over the top or you can dip them in it, whatever your heart desires. There we go. Got it the consistency I want. Probably took about 1.5 tablespoons of milk. And we're just going to use our fork and just drizzle that wonderful glaze right over the top. You can also dip these, like I said before, and get a nice smooth layer. Get creative here. Make this beautiful decoration your own. Stay with us. We'll come back and taste them in just a minute. So when they've cooled, like I showed you before, you can just mix up that confectioner's sugar and milk and just drizzle them over the top, or you can do it while they're still warm. If you do it while they're still warm, you're going to want to let them come to room temperature. But if you want a heavier glaze, just a drizzle, or you can, if you wanted to dip them in the glaze, you would need to wait until they were cool, and just fantastic. So we used peach pie filling on these, and let's give it a taste. My timer's going off. Alexa, stop. So you'll have to go look at my pictures, but you have that flaky layered pie crust that's just wrapped around that pie filling. Fantastic. Sticky, messy, everything you want in a hand pie. Now, these can also be fried, but you're not missing a thing by having them in the oven. When you use that tried and true pie crust and you do the fold and the roll like we did, it's perfect. You don't need to fry it to have that tender on the inside, flaky and crispy on the outside crust that you normally expect in a fried hand pie. But feel free to fry them. If you do, just leave them in there just long enough at about 350 degree oil until they're nice and brown, and then take them right out. But I like these in the oven because you can kind of control what happens. Sometimes whenever you fry them, that fruit, if it leaks out of the hand pie, it can cause a problem in your deep frying method. So baking them, in my opinion, is not only better for you, but it is also a little safer in the kitchen as well. This recipe, like all of our others, can be found over at thebutteredhome.com, a real nice free printable recipe card with room in the margins so that you can make notes to make this recipe your own. We encourage you to try fresh fruit. We encourage you to try canned pie filling. Whatever your heart desires, the method of this is going to be the same. Get creative. These are even good with chocolate. This is one of those recipes that we specialize in that just gets you thinking about what you're cooking and how you can take it and make this recipe your own, because that is essentially what we want you to do. Make sure, if you're not already, that you're following us on all of our social channels. We have a really good time and we want you wherever we are. If you wanted all of our videos in one convenient place, head over to YouTube, search for The Buttered Home, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so that you can be notified when we drop new videos like this one. Y'all, I got to get these out of my house. So, as always, from The Buttered Home to your home, we sure love y'all. Bye.